That's good. I'm gonna stay as long as I can, but I have to leave right at the segment. Me and my fiance have to do an invitation to Rockville, so we're meeting with the yeah. What's going on, brother? That's your username in league, dude. These motherfucking Riot games keeps trying to pull me back, okay? And they're like, you know what I'm talking about? WASD?
Oh, yeah, it just launched, yeah. Okay, no, you're picking.
Listen to me, I don't give a shit, okay? When I come back to that game with my MMO experience and WASD,
You can actually just right click the enemy and then right click the group.
no.
Like you can actually, if you just
No. You guys are just upset.
it's actually
You guys are just upset that I'm gonna dummy everybody when I come back to the game.
Did you see it? He's getting some.
Oh
yeah, and top lane's getting level 20. Now, when you get
Thank you, sir. Hello, welcome everybody in the ISSessions chat. Perfect, thank you. Awesome. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome. Nice to see everybody here again. Thank you so much for coming out. Is good?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Final session of the year, so thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming out throughout the whole year. I've heard nothing but good things from all the attendants, and I've seen all the amazing things that have been going on all year, and it's been a pleasure to be able to help lead this team and to see all the amazing things that we're able to do. For the final session of the year, I'm just going to remind you guys that we are in like the final stages of confirming where we're going to be holding our CTF. I can't say for sure, but if any of you attended the one last year, fingers crossed, it'll be in the same place. But again, I didn't say that, so don't worry about it. But it's looking very good. We're ready to go for lots of challenges. We're going to be starting the finalization for all of that soon as well. But in terms of the CTF, we're planning to do it even bigger and better than we did last year. And last year, I think, was one of the best CTFs that we ever had. So thank you to everybody that came out to that. We'll have more information very, very soon, hopefully before the new year. And then we can start planning for all of that stuff. But just before I pass it off to the team, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that comes out online, everybody that comes in person, everybody that shows up every 2 weeks to be here and to participate in the clubs and to do all the extracurricular stuff that happens. Everything that you guys do does not go unnoticed. And this club will serve you in ways that you haven't realized yet. Again, I always like to remind people that I wouldn't be in the position I am at right now with my co-op and all of the connections that I know without this club. And I'm very happy to be able to be part of it and to help lead a team that does so many amazing things every single day. So just want to say thank you so much to this entire team. I really appreciate it. And that being said, if you guys have any questions about anything that's coming up, if you have any questions about the CTF, if you need any help with co-ops, if you need any advice, if you need any recommendations to any places, please feel free to message me at any time, and I'll be more than happy to talk with you guys. I get a bunch of messages you from all the time, and I'm always happy to sit down and talk with everybody. So thank you guys so much, and with that being said, I will shut up now and pass it off to the team. Thank you so much, guys.
So I quickly want to say thank you to everyone for showing up. I know it's really busy right now. So yeah, with all the exams, projects, and stuff going on. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to come and participate in ISSessions. And I guess we're just going to kick everything off. So yeah, we're just going to start off with news. Our first article is presented by our Nick. So round of applause.
Okay. Hello. First off, how many of you use Chrome extensions? Decent amount. All right. Awesome. Y'all are gonna love this. Okay. So today I'll be covering a major browser-based supply chain attack linked to a threat actor known as Shady Panda. This campaign ran quietly for 7 years, starting in 2018, and affected both Chrome and Edge users. Now, what exactly happened? Shady Panda distributed what looked like completely normal browser extensions. These extensions had millions of installs, strong reviews, and even featured or verified status in the Chrome and Edge stores. For years, they behaved exactly as advertised, building user trust and avoiding scrutiny. But in the middle of 2024, many of these extensions received updates that were silently transformed. That silently transformed them into malware. By the time that this was discovered, roughly 4.3 million users were already compromised. And importantly, some of these extensions are still live on the Edge store today. This attack is significant because it didn't involve any phishing, social engineering, or fake downloads. Instead, it exploited the trust model of official browser extension ecosystems. Now, I have a little technical breakdown of the malicious behavior amongst all of these extensions. Once activated, the weaponized extensions gained a surprising level of control. They were able to do remote code execution inside the browser. The extensions pulled down JavaScript from a C2 server every hour, then executed it with full browser permissions. This gave attackers an ongoing foothold and the ability to change tactics on the fly. It also allowed for full browser surveillance. They harvested a wide range of data, including URLs visited, refers, timestamps, persistent unique identifiers, and complete browser fingerprints. In some cases, activity was actually streamed to the attacker in real time. They were also able to do web page injection. Because the malicious code had full extension level access, it could inject scripts into any website, including those loaded over HTTPS, allowing tampering, credential theft, or content manipulation. They also had anti-analysis features. The malware The malware detected when browser developer tools were opened and switched to a benign mode, making analysis far more difficult for researchers and security teams. That's terrifying. Um, they were also able to do real-time interaction tracking. Certain extensions like the We tab monitored search queries, mouse clicks, page interactions, storage access, and more, then exfiltrated all that data instantly. Now, why is this so dangerous? You can imagine. This attack bypasses traditional security assumptions. There was no user interaction required. It lived inside the browser where most antivirus tools have limited visibility, and it exploited long-standing trust, weaponizing extensions that had behaved safely for years. Now, what exactly should users and organizations do? First of all, they should audit browser extensions regularly and remove any that are not essential. In corporate settings, you guys should use strict whitelisting and centralized controls for extension installation. And you should also treat extensions as suspicious if they request broad permissions, such as access to all sites, cookies, or storage, especially when it has absolutely nothing to do with the actual functionality. So in summary, this campaign shows how a trusted extension ecosystem can become a long-term attack vector. Even well-reviewed, verified extensions can be quietly weaponized. So ongoing monitoring and strict extension hygiene are now an absolute critical step that we should be taking. Thank you.
How do we get set up for this? Is this fast article online? It's just the audio, or?
Yeah.
Okay, you can help me out then.
Okay, you should come through the speakers. But
Unmuted,
yeah.
okay.
So good. Yeah.
Okay, I don't hear anything now. He was talking, so. Oh,
Oh, it's just
yeah, I think it should be good. Yep.
All good?
Yep. Perfect.
just 80%.
Okay, perfect. All right, hello everyone. Today I'll be talking about an exploit that occurs within Blender models, specifically with .blend file extensions, and it basically allows a malicious info stealer malware called COC to be embedded into these blend files with Python scripts. So to start things off, like I'm just gonna introduce Blender really quickly. It's an open source 3D software used to make projects such as animations, rigging models, and just for general 3D work. And the attack in question we'll be covering is, as I said earlier, based on the utilization of Python scripts in the .blend file extension that Blender uses. And .blend files typically contain models for what's known as character rigging, which gives control towards animating a character model, which is useful in character animations. So the exploit covered here is based on a feature of Blender known as auto run, which allows for the usage of Python scripts to be embedded in these .blend files, which allow for custom facial features and user interface tools to be integrated with the specific model you're working on. So auto run will automatically run any Python scripts associated with these .blend files, which is where the exploit in today's case stems from. This is a feature that many users can turn on by default, which is for the sake of convenience within Blender's settings. However, the caveat in this case
Cool. All right. So, not really a cybersecurity thing, but I'll tie it into cybersecurity. I don't know if you guys use package managers for JS, JavaScript, stuff like Node, NPM, Yarn, PNPM. There's another one called Bun. It was made with the idea in mind to replace Node.js completely. The drop-in replacement 100%. It's not there 100% yet. I think its roadmap is like 70% or 60% there, but they're working on it all the time. And it's made from the ground up. I think it's like almost 50 or 60 times faster than Yarn and like 100 times faster than NPM, which is insane. And yeah, that's some history about Bun. But I don't know if you guys heard about it the past couple of days, Anthropic decided to buy Bun, which is a bit confusing because it's a free package manager that they could use and contribute to, but instead they wanted to have it underneath their silo, their roof, their brand, I guess is what you could say. And if we go back a little bit, I'm sure since most GPTs came out or AIs came out, all we see about the new one coming out, oh, software engineering is dead. Oh, cybersecurity is dead. Oh, AI is going to take over your job. And while that is true for some very minor, tasks like, I don't know, front desk or reception or something like that, something like software engineering is not just going to go away like that, right? In fact, Anthropic is basically saying different, or the way that they're acting is different than what they're saying, right? They're saying software engineering is dead. They're saying, no more AI is replacing it. But if you look what they're actually spending their money on, it's more software engineering, right? They're funding Bun to get more software engineers to make Bun better so that Claude Code ships better. Bun ships codes in executables. Not a lot of JS package managers ship an executable as the finished product. And Claude wants to market on that and continue with their, Claude Code CLI. There's some good news though for Bun. It's pretty much staying the exact same as what it is before. Same team, open source, GitHub, same roadmap, same strengths. Everything what you like about Bun is staying exactly the same. It just has a huge influx of money from Anthropic regarding more engineers to be hired. And then something else that I found that was pretty cool, and the last point you can see here, Rust versus Zig. So a couple of months ago, 5-6 months ago, OpenAI released their Codex CLI tool. Maybe it was earlier than that. And if you look at the source code for that, it runs this software called OpenCode, which is 97.9% Rust. And that's invested and owned by OpenAI. And then you have Anthropic investing in Bun, and their code base is 60% Zig. And both of those are very memory safe types checking strict languages. And you can see one side of the coin is investing on Zig, and one side of the coin is investing on Rust. And I think that is quite interesting to think about. And to tie it into cybersecurity, I would say keep learning what you're doing. Keep learning how to do pen testing, IR, whatever it is you're interested in, because AI will not replace that. You will still need some type of human, maybe not interaction, but like review, right? It needs to be done by the human instead of the AI. AI can sure generate a bunch of stuff, but if it's AI is generating and choosing all these things by itself without any human interaction, that's where you're going to run into issues. So eventually, maybe we'll get to that point, but right now we still have that human interaction point. So keep learning everything you're learning, all these extra tools. AI will not replace you guys. It's more of a tool to enhance your workflow. Hopefully it doesn't replace us. I think at this point we'll be good for a couple of years. I don't think, mark my words, but I don't think we're going to get a huge AI wave of replacement, especially for software engineering or cybersecurity or whatever your field is in. But I just think it was very interesting for them to buy Bun, a package manager. Even though, not even thinking about Claude Code, if they didn't even have Claude Code, for them to buy something like this is very odd, I will say. I didn't find how much they spent on it, but I would assume it's a couple $100 million, I don't really know. But Bun had no income before. When they were asked how they were going to keep the project afloat, they just said, oh, we'll eventually start charging for it, and they just never did. I think there was Dino. Dino went down a similar path where they had no income and they were asked how they were going to do it, so they started charging for Dino. So you can have like Dino Cloud, it'll like run stuff for you. And people just thought Bun would eventually do that as well because you could get money that way, and they just never did. They just kept working on it, they kept taking losses, and now Anthropic bought them and they have influx of money. So I think Bun will become a lot bigger than it is now currently. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. So thanks.
And that leads us into today's middle segment. So I will be talking to you about abusing discretionary access controls to leak passwords and secrets. This is not illegal, but we will be looking at a lot of sensitive information, some of which is included in these slides. Any secrets, passwords, keys, anything like that, I have either truncated them, censored them, or they've been invalidated in some way so you can't just like grab them and go start blasting at things. But you will absolutely leave today knowing how to do this. Like, click every button perfectly and you will be able to perform this yourself. ISSessions, Watchtower Labs, none of these entities will take any liability or responsibility for anything you do with this. Let's get started. So, discretionary access controls. That is a mouthful. So let's actually talk a little bit about access controls first. In short, it's a way for a owner of a piece of data to control who can access it. And we have a couple different categories for these things. We have mandatory access controls, MAC. This is what you might see something like in the military. Maybe I have a protected Class C clearance. That means I can't access anything with a top secret classification. But maybe I can access something below that, protected Class A or B. Then we have role-based access control. So if you're in a company, maybe you only want the HR department to access this kind of body of documents you have. Maybe you only want IT department to access a different body of documents. That would be an example of role-based access control. Then we have rule-based, which is the same acronym, but it's a little bit different. Instead, you have a list of rules that you kind of do every access check against. So maybe my rules are, you must be an ISS executive, and your first name must start with the letter J. Just completely arbitrarily, so John can access it, Jamie can access it, Jamal can access it. Nick, unfortunately, cannot access it because his first name does not start with the letter J. And then finally, we have discretionary access control. And this is probably something you're all very familiar with. This is what Google Drive uses or OneDrive uses. So as the graph shows up over here, the owner of the data can choose at their own discretion who can access that piece of data. So in Google Drive, it's the same as putting in someone's email, sending them a share link, or creating a link and then sending it to them however you really want to. That's discretionary access control, and that's kind of the focus of the talk today. Now, a few nights ago, maybe at like 1 in the morning or something, one of my friends sent me this article. And this guy's like a really smart guy. I have a lot of respect for him. He works as like an embedded developer in like some telecom company. And this article, it looks really clickbaity, right? Like surely I'm not individually the problem. Surely he's not just like calling me out on like reusing my passwords or anything. And usually when he does send me an article, it's maybe funny, sad, disturbing, super technical that I have to go read like a textbook to figure it all out, or some combination of those things. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I read it through. I also sent it to John like a few minutes later, and it was just mind-blowing. So I really wanted to go talk about it today, and that's kind of what we're going to do. And our first topic is, in fact, something technical. So we're going to, actually, I'll tell you a little bit about the source first, Watchtower Labs. They are a threat intel organization, so they talk about all kinds of CVEs. They discuss how they're actively being exploited in the wild, different vulnerabilities, different exploits. And they do a lot of research on their own. They kind of like OSINT kind of stuff, and they mess around with a lot of things. They're always disturbing the peace, absolutely. And yeah, in this article, they kind of start us off with the idea of JSON. So that stands for the JavaScript Object Notation. It's a way for you to kind of structure complex data in some meaningful way. And JSON's a standard that's actually really common on the internet. It's really popular because it is both machine readable. It's very easy to parse with a computer, but it's also plain text. So we as humans can easily understand it. So if you're looking up at that piece of code up over there, well, you might not know exactly what every character does or what every word means or anything, but you have an idea of the structure. You can see where things are kind of nested, where the containers are. You can see the labels and you can see the data, and that's perfectly fine. You don't need a computer to like really understand and read that at a first glance. But it is machine readable. It is very easy for computers to parse it. So in web APIs, you will see this format being used. And you won't just see it on the web. You'll see it in other kind of environments where maybe you want to configure a server. So you have this bot that's like configuring thousands of computers for your organization. Some kind of pipeline, and you want that bot to operate in a certain way. You want to set the settings for it. So you'll just have it all in this document. You feed your client that document, and then it will do all that heavy lifting for you. And that's great. Now, there is one kind of little drawback that you might not notice it at first. It's not super apparent, but we have a lot of white space, right? We have all these tabs at the start of the lines. We have all these different lines. Those are bytes that are congesting our network. We don't need to be sending them. The machine doesn't care about them. It's really just for us. So a bunch of really smart engineers realized this a few decades ago, and they said, hey, you know what? Let's just not send all of that data because we don't have to. And then that creates a problem because now it's very difficult for us to read it. So you see that block up over there? That's what a minified piece of JSON looks like. And now we have to create a solution for our solution. And that means we have created a formatter. So we have something that's going to kind of inflate that file back up, add in all those new lines, all those spaces and tabs and all that stuff so that we can read it now. And that's a very simple algorithm to implement, actually. In fact, the IDE that you're all using in your programming courses, VS Code, it will do that for you. There are third-party tools that will do it for you. The point I'm making is you don't need a full web application to do it. Like the browser's eating up like gigabytes of memory and it's doing all kinds of stuff in the background. You don't need to do it in a web browser, okay? So, while I believe that to be true, a lot of people tend to disagree. And there's this website called jsonformatter.org, which will do exactly that. And it has this insanely rich feature set that you can share your file with people. So you can go paste in your minified JSON, and then it'll parse it nicely and make it all look pretty. And then you can just hit that share button, it'll create a link for you, and you can send that off to your friends. Right, your little discretionary access control, right? Except, I mean, the problem is, I mean, okay, I can see my camera's kind of blocking it a little bit here, but there's no privacy settings on that. There is just an expiry time. You can add some tags, a nice little description or title or anything. There's a data storage policy. But I don't see anything that says private on it or unlisted or public or anything that you would expect to see on a share link like that. And now if you see right under it over here, that's what a URL looks like for a JSON formatter. So you have this ID and the parser there. And yeah, so that's what an ID looks like. And you can see that's 6 hexadecimal digits. Right, so it's small. I say it's small, but really it's what I think it's 24-bit, right? So about 17 million different combinations. That's still a lot. And in fact, there's like different URLs you can be like trying where you put your ID, and that's what Watchtower Labs came up with. They looked at all these URLs, they found all that out. So we can't check 16.7 million URLs ourselves, but maybe we can write a script. And, you know, we know where the ID is supposed to go. We know how big it's supposed to be. We know the character set probably, and we can just start blasting requests at the site. Maybe we can multi-thread it, right? And I mean, they probably have DDoS protection, so maybe we'll have to add in proxies to get around the rate limiting. Maybe we'll have to get some more hardware, set things up in different regions and places. Oh. It turns out we don't have to do any of that. JSONformatter.org has been kind enough to just tell us. So there is a recent links button that you can click, and every link or every document that has been shared on their platform is just out in the open. And yeah, so when I was sending this to John that night, we didn't think it was actually going to be that easy, right? So we had the same idea. I didn't even have to tell him anything. We both just went to the site and we were looking through the front page of their recent links up there. And I think on like the third or fourth result, there was an API key because probably some junior dev wanted to make a good first impression to his supervisor. Yeah?
That was dynamically loaded. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It might have changed by now, but hey, I mean, first page, like just.
AWS credits, so.
Yeah, go nuts, man. Yeah, we were just looking through them, and literally on the third result or something, there was an API key there. So yeah, junior dev wanted to make a good impression on his supervisor. Maybe, but yeah, he wanted to like format the data before sending it off to his supervisor. It's completely reasonable. The thing is, he did it in probably the worst way possible. So, moving on now. This is what we call in the industry a big situation. Because, like I mentioned before, JSON is not just used for, formatting a little bit of data from a little web API or something. No, this is used in like actual industrial applications where maybe you're mass configuring devices. And if you want to log into those devices that you're configuring, you need encryption keys, you need credentials, you might need any other kind of secrets and things that probably shouldn't be out on the internet. So just Watchtower Labs did a lot more info gathering on this. They found all kinds of interesting stuff. It wasn't just web API stuff. Yeah, you should go check out after this talk. Just go to the site. And it's not just JSON either. Because JSON is one of the standards that we use. It happens to be pretty popular. But like I said, JSON Formatter and all these other sites like CodeBeautify or Replit or CodePen or any of those sites that kind of do the same thing, they will do more than just JSON, thankfully. So there are PowerShell scripts, there are YAML scripts, any kind of markup, TOML, whatever there is that people are using to do all their configurations. There are credentials. That top image over there at the bottom, that's an SSH key. Nice. That SSH private key, I should say. It is truncated, so yeah, don't get too crazy about it. But yeah, there is absolutely a lot of secret data that's just out in the open on these sites. So, Watchtower Labs, in the interest of integrity, wanted to actually experiment with this. Because just because they found this data, it doesn't mean it's like actively being exploited or monitored or anything by threat actors. Maybe they just got really lucky, they caught it before anything happened. So they did, they published their own secrets. They created new secret keys, rather, API keys. They published them on JSONformatter.org. And then they had monitoring and alerts and all kinds of other logging so that they can see if that key was actually going to be used, if it was being exploited. And within 24 hours, it was. So absolutely, these things are being exploited in the wild. And this isn't the first time it's happened either. I want to tell you a little bit about Pastebin. Anyone know what Pastebin is, actually? Awesome, awesome. I have a lifetime premium subscription to Pastebin because I got it in 2017. It was a Black Friday sale for like 10 bucks. I still have access to it. All my old pastes are on there. If anyone's unfamiliar, it was a place where, okay, if you were using a forum or something back in the day, forums often limited the number of characters in your posts. So if you wanted to like share code with someone on these forums, you probably couldn't do that very easily just in a post. So what we would do is we would go to Pastebin or some similar service, paste in our code, and that had no real limit to it or anything, or at least the limit was a lot higher. Yeah, and then we could just get a link, put that in our forum post, and be done with it. Everyone can access it. That was great. And it suffered from largely the same problem because of this discretionary access control where people just put things on the internet. And as you can see over here, this is a screenshot I took literally like 2 days ago. There is indeed a public pastes sidebar right there. So you could see all the pastes that people are making throughout the day. You just have to hit refresh a couple times and you can get a whole list. You don't even have to look there. They do have a dedicated page. And they also have the most viewed every 24 hours. So if someone did post a secret key, it's probably going to be popular, and then you can actually go find it even easier. But yeah, it's not super active today. It's not super common, but it used to be, and it did have the same problem. So it's not really the first time that we've seen this kind of problem before. So what have we learned today, aside from just all the intel gathering? DAC is convenient. It is really easy for us to just create a share link and send it to all of our friends, or just put in their emails or whatever. But it's not super reliable, because maybe that link does travel beyond your friends or beyond whoever you send it to. Maybe it really is just out in the open. You have no idea about it. Another thing we've learned, we probably shouldn't be posting our secrets into these random web applications, which happens to be the title of that article. Please just run it on your own machine. There are so many solutions you can use. There are so many integrations. Your IDE will literally do it for you. You have no reason to be using a web application. We haven't seen this kind of attack before, or this kind of threat surface before. Or yeah, we have seen it, so yeah, just keep it in mind and always validate, audit your access controls, and monitor all of your secrets, all your API keys, anything that could be used maliciously if it got into the wrong hands. So, thank you very much. If there's any Q&A, please feel free to ask me, come up. We're gonna go on our little break now. That's me on the Discord, that's my display name. That QR code will go straight to the article, so you can go have a look as well. And
You're gonna put a link on there. It
yeah.
reminds me of the article or the issue with the AI stuff where if you posted, if you shared your AI conversation, like if you created if you were talking AI, you share the conversation, and you click the share link. Now it's on the internet. People can just use Google search to like search the content of your conversation, and it'll show up because it's in there. So they don't even have to know the URL. They can just search content and use like Google Docs to find like from complexity from OpenAI or whatever, and they'll just be able to read your chat messages with AI because you shared it on the internet. It's not as open as this, but similar. Reminds me of that.
Yeah.
Scary.
So yeah, stop doing that,
Yeah.
basically.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. Go on break. Might be a bit of a delay for the CCR. I don't think that's the code because I didn't add it whenever it shows up there.
Conrad, can we do like a Get Leaks talk next time? You should do a Get Leaks talk. Yeah. Find some repos from people here. Honestly, it's easy to state. There should be a CSR. Actually, in our workshop today, we were doing like it's really easy to
Yeah, it's not that code. Yeah, don't use that code, guys. We're getting it set up. So, sorry. It's not that though. It's not. We a little oversight on our part. So John sorted it out.
The whole thing was like you wanted to keys at the end. So I think people would post them to like share them with their buddies. That's hilarious. You could, you could. I didn't have a computer. Bro just fell down. I fucking tripped on this. Oh no. Until they're like, oh really? You just ask one? Dude, we used to like on the game forums too, like Battle Net used to have the forum. You used to be able to go in there, like people would just be like, yeah, here's my game and you can like, because we didn't like monitor how many times we used it. It's like on the private, just have a private key, they generate all the keys from it, and that's it, game over. Yeah, that's true, actually. That'd be a fun browser. SC1, Brood War, 3 AM, really good for the grind thing. No, I don't know. We got our speaker and then just upright it. Take a break. You gotta say for this speaker. So this is gonna be our session.
Oh, the slides are gonna show up here.
Maybe make a change, just depends on schedule next semester, but this is every other week. Oh,
Did you already?
For people who are on Discord for the CCR code, we'll put it in the stream questions for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll remove it afterwards. For people who are online, you'll see it in person.
There we go.
Oh, they're all just pictures.
Yep.
Should be.
Oh, you thought it was gonna be like a PowerPoint?
Yeah, I'm just
Oh.
gonna just see if I can open them all. Adobe.
Usually like a picture viewer where you can.
public passwords.
Let me see. If I can make a PDF and then we can just slide through. That should be okay.
No, it's just lowercase.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I should have known.
That's okay. That's okay.
Nothing is capital.
Not even the piece.
Not even the piece.
I got an M1 as well.
It's really good.
Yeah, that's
These
it.
are all in order.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Student union is actually the school will basically validate or verify any employees about your like club participation and stuff. So like it's like a way for people to prove that they attended the session. They get like 2 hours of community service.
That's cool. You get credit for it.
Yes.
You can prove. It's like going to class. Yeah.
And you can put on your resume, and if employers ask about it, they can like check that people like
It is a good addition.
Not a lot of shared students know like the value of it. Just think like what are these hours for?
So
If you can't
forward
the
push
channel,
pause.
it's
Okay, okay. So how do I go forward? So Just forward. up.
yeah. After the
Do
C,
you click
there's
it?
an
Yeah.
underscore.
Okay, cool. I guess I can start whenever. Or I'll wait. I'll wait till everyone's kind of settled.
Email, do you want me to my school email? Yeah, if you haven't done it yet, put your school email. If you have, it's fine, because we asked for your student ID anyway, so at the end of the day, it'll still get tracked back to you. But it's better if you can use your student email, but it's not the end of the day. It's not the end of the world if you have it. There should be only one submission. Okay, just use it's the same thing. I created another one last, yes. Yeah. Because it looks for a specific one. So, they're fine. You gotta like read them in French. And you just there's the reason we don't speak French. They'll speak to you in English after the jump. Montreal's usually no, it's sponsored by Conrad. Yeah, it's sponsored by Conrad. If you solve one of their challenges, they give you like an honest call. Yeah, I think one of them was you had to hack one of their systems. So they actually bring you and set it up. Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's a nice school too, actually. Sully, is the stream ready for, okay, cool. So you're ready whenever. Okay guys, for people online, we're just gonna start again. We'll have our guest speaker have his slides, and hope you guys enjoy the presentation. So, give it away, Chris, thanks.
Thank you. Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. This is my first time ever being a guest speaker in the technical industry ever. So, it's, thank you. So I'm going to try and not read the slides and just kind of talk. I'll give you a very short intro. So I've been in the industry on and off for, I guess, 20 years. I went to Fleming for computer engineering. I did a bunch of other stuff, came back to it, and then I worked in insurance for about 2 years as a software engineer. And then I worked in ed tech as a senior software engineer. And I recently quit that job to do a startup. So that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, so I'm gonna try and tie this into security as much as I can. It's a challenge because it's not really my specialty, but I'll try and bring it back to security whenever I can. So how do I go next on this? Okay. Cool. All right. So after building a lot of servers, back-end systems, ultimately I was responsible for doing security on these systems, even though I was not a security specialist. And one of the biggest issues with all the companies that I've worked for is they don't validate any input at all. Or if they validate input, they only validate it at the front end. So if the user types in an address or something like that, they'll validate it there, but then they totally ignore the back end. So not only is it a security issue, it's a huge issue with the correctness and the robustness of the back end. Your server's going to be crashing all the time because you're going to get data getting into the deep layers of your code base. And it's shocking. There's staff engineers at the companies I worked at, and he knew it was a problem and he totally ignored it. And believe it or not, this guy got promoted. And it drove me crazy. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced something like this where you work with someone and you're like, I hope that guy just gets fired and he actually gets promoted. It drove me crazy. But anyways, stuff like that, in any kind of production server where you have 200,000 people using the system, especially if there's users at risk kind of thing, you shouldn't have anything where any endpoint is open like that. It's just absolutely crazy. So I'm saying triple equals between incompetent and malicious. It doesn't matter if the person doesn't know better. It's just as bad as them being malicious because the end result's the same. That's the way I look at it. You can have the greatest intent in the world, but if you're not doing things properly, it's malicious, in my viewpoint. Boundaries. When designing the systems, I was responsible for a lot of the architecture on the back end. For a while, I was the only software engineer working on the server. And the best designs that we had were all ones where there is extremely strong validation of all the inputs coming into the system, not just from a security standpoint, but the way that the data was modeled. We would never have like a plain JSON or like an object that didn't have functions on it for mutating the data. We would have an object, we would wrap all our data with a very well-tested object the second it came into the system, and then it makes the rest of your system really easy to understand because everything that comes into your system, we know it's correct. It has a clean interface, a nice API. Boundaries are going to save your system from security issues and also make the system overall a lot more easy to understand. I'm going to try and speed it up because I'm actually only supposed to speak for 1 minute per slide. So it's just there we go. Okay, yeah, this is one thing I want to talk about was professionalism in the workplace. And this is not an issue for a lot of people, but some people do struggle with it. And this is something in particular if you're working on open source software. If you're ever trying to use someone else's software and you have an issue with it, they don't like hearing about it. So they're gonna say stuff like this, and I pulled this from a real conversation I had with programmers for like literally a week ago. And they told me this, they said, "You're too much of a moron to read the docs." Now there was some truth in that. in two ways, no, just kidding. But there was some truth in that. I didn't read the entire all the documents, but there's tons of them. I'm like, can I just get started? I'm just trying to get a simple camera working. Come on. Even the example they had didn't work, and it drove me crazy. I go, come on, guys. And it turned out it was a really bad bug, and it wasn't my fault. But instead of asking me, Chris, how can we fix it, or what's the problem, how can you reproduce it, they said all this stuff to me. I'm like, thanks a lot, block, block, block. So don't talk to those guys anymore. Ideally, this is the kind of programmer I always try to aspire to be. I want to be working for the customer, whoever's using my code. I try to treat them like a customer, even if they aren't a customer yet, because I want them to be a customer one day. This is where the whole entrepreneurship kind of approach comes from, but I believe all employees, anybody who has this kind of approach, they're going to get raises, bigger raises, they're going to get promoted faster. I think one of the reasons why I moved up so quickly when I did start working for other people was because I really tried to treat boss like he was a customer, and all my coworkers like they were customers too. How can I help you? How can I fix it? Try to take responsibility, even when it may not be your fault. It's hard to do, and sometimes coworkers drive you crazy, but just try to eat it. Frankly, sometimes you just have to. I try to treat a lot of analogies. I try to treat it like a waiter. So an API is like a waiter. You get a request and you get a response. Your response is the food you ordered. The general idea is like, what restaurant would you rather eat at? And I'll give an example of two APIs here. Yeah, I was responsible for doing the APIs in the back end of this server that was supporting 200,000 people. So a bad API. This looks like a common menu that you see at like a fancy Italian restaurant. It usually looks something like this, but it's absolutely terrible because there's too many options, and it's very rare that they do everything well. You might get 2 or 3 things on this menu that actually is cooked really well because the chef specializes in it, or it's the most popular thing. A good API is clear, simple, small. It says exactly what you get, what you pay for it. There's no guessing. That's just an example I wanted to put up there of like what a good API is. Good APIs are small. You don't want to have an API that tries to do everything. You want to have a clear separation of concerns between APIs. You wouldn't use Stripe, for Google or calendar stuff. It's very specific to that one particular thing, and it does it better than anybody else. That's a good API. Okay, testing. So testing is something I am extremely anal about with my code, and it is probably one of the easiest fixes for a bad code base. And I would say the first thing a coder should do is learn how to test. And unfortunately, most tutorials you read online, they don't even mention testing at all. They have no unit test. They don't mention Jest. They don't mention JUnit. They skip over it entirely. It's an afterthought. Even in school, they don't really teach it a lot until second year, unfortunately. So when you're debugging, in practice, this is something that is really hard to do in some cases, reproduction of the bug first before you try to fix it. Now, I'm going to cut this story really short, but I can tell you we spent a month trying to fix a bug on a production server that was in development for a couple of years, and they released it to a few 100,000 people, and it crashed so badly. We had no idea what the problem was, and we're all under pressure to try to fix it. We're all worried about our job. Even my boss was worried about losing his job. And so because we were under so much pressure, we were just fixing everything we thought might be a problem. We're guessing. And it wasn't until we built a load tester. We called it I'm not going to say what it is. I don't know if it's an IP issue or not. But I'll just say we had to build our own custom load tester just to reproduce the problem. And there was nothing on the market that could do it. Anyways, once we got it reproduced, it was within 1 day of work we solved it. So it was really, we could have probably saved 2 or 3 weeks of work. I don't know how much money we lost, fixing all these other things, but it was just that one problem. And it was a Node.js thing, with a deadlock in one of the tables, the database tables. So the table, the database was locking, and when Node.js would crash, it never let go of the lock. And just trying to restart it, it would just hit the lock again, and then you get timeouts. So it was just trying to reproduce the problem was the problem. And there's two types of problems, race conditions and load testing. Those ones are just buggers to test for. The best advice I could give for testing try to reproduce race conditions is just do whatever you need to do to the code to make it reproducible. If you cannot get it to produce the same bug over and over again, there's no way you can figure out if your solution is working, right? If like every 1 out of 5 times you run the code, you have a bug and you didn't change anything, how do you know what caused it, right? So focus. Okay, so I'm gonna get off the coding stuff for a bit and talk more about entrepreneurship. So, long story short, I had a startup back in 2017, and it was an ed tech startup. We had about 350 active users on it. It was at York University, called Pololo Education. And this was the problem. This is why it failed. It cost me large. And basically, focus is one of the number one reasons why startups fail. They fail because people try to do too much. People build 10 features, and none of them really do anything special. They're done a billion times. So no one uses it, and they never really did anything special, so then they fail, and they lose their money. So anyways, I wanted to go back to the menu example here. Sorry. Okay. Right. Oh yeah, so I wanted to make like an analogy of the menu of how to focus a product and how an idea might change. Usually restaurants are good examples of businesses that fail. Why do they fail? Because they try to do too much. They start with a huge menu. Nothing on it's really cooked that well. They have no name for themselves, unless they're a franchise or something like that. They have nothing that stands out. No one can read their API, so no one uses it, so no one spends money, and then they go to business. So they go, okay, how about we need to be more competitive in the market. So what they do is they look at something like Tim Hortons or McDonald's, and they go, okay, we're going to simplify the menu. We're going to make it look like a McDonald's menu where we just have a burger, fries, and a drink. In this case, we just have, some 4 dishes and a special salad. That's great. It's nice and competitive. The only problem is the people you're competing against already have the market, right? They have more money than you. They have better placement. They have advertising. They have marketing. You don't have any of that stuff. It's the dumbest thing you can do as a startup, especially if it's just you and one other person or something like that. Don't do that.
Don't offer too much, basically.
Yeah, don't offer too much. You won't be able to deliver all of it better than anybody else because they are already established, right? What I tried to do before was something like between these two, and that was a failure. I got the order backwards here.
Yeah, it's on the control.
There we go. So yeah, this is probably this is an analogy for what would be probably the best approach. Is just do one thing. Do one thing and focus on one thing that's really, really, really hard and has not been done. The impossible specialty. 0 calories, all you can eat. Does not exist. There is no spaghetti, all you can eat, that has 0 calories. But imagine if there was. Imagine if there was. And yes, exactly. Patent protected, best in Toronto, only $30, and you get to save 20% on an engine membership. So hey, but like what I'm trying to say is, it's not just you have if you have a patent on it, obviously it's protected, but it makes messaging and placement so easy. Where are you going to put it? Where are you going to sell it? Well, next to gyms. People trying to lose weight who love spaghetti. Everything becomes more clear when you focus, and that's kind of just the point I wanted to make. it's something I wish I had known 5 years ago. Just the thing, just build features and people will like it. No, it doesn't work like that. So yeah, this was the company that failed. Had 3 employees. We ran out of money before we found product market fit. We had to shut down because we started eating into credit just to pay the bills. It was a really painful experience, and I'm glad it only took 3 years. Had it panned out for 10 years or something like that, it would have been far worse. Or one more year, yeah. COVID is actually kind of what ended it, because it was our main income was tutoring, and when COVID hit, everybody started cheating, and we had a policy no cheating. We wouldn't help students cheat, but that's what everyone was doing. So there was no market anymore. Crazy. Like I would lose my degree if I helped someone cheat on something. Right? I can't do it. So. It was terrible. We didn't have a lot of funding, very little funding too. Probably could have pulled out of it if we had more funding, and we did actually find a little bit of product market fit right when we ran out of money. But yeah, that was painful. Yeah, and I mean, this is a curve. People have seen this before. Typically things that are really useful are hard to use because there's just so many things. If you're going to use Photoshop or some kind of advanced image software, you have to take a course in just how to use that software. You can't pick it up and use it in 20 seconds. And on the other end, you have stuff that's easy to use. It's literally like 2 buttons or something like that, but it doesn't do much. Paint? Microsoft Paint, I would argue, is even kind of difficult, actually. Yeah. I do a lot of testing, and you'd be surprised what people struggle with. Even Microsoft Paint, I'm not joking either. I do a lot of this, usability testing. Tried it last year. Paper prototypes are probably the best tool you can use for figuring out if your program is simple to use or not. And I guarantee you, every time you use it, there's going to be something wrong with it. Every time. It doesn't matter how, even more than 2 buttons, people are going to find some way to mess it up. You'll be shocked. That's why I do them every sprint. There's a usability test. It's not done by a lot of people, but it does keep your product simple. You're probably going to end up with, I would say, 1 or 2 features that are actually useful. I realize this is not security related, but I guess from a security point of view, the less features you have, the easier it is to keep them secure. Maybe that's one way of looking at it. But this paper prototype testing, it has saved me a ton of time. I don't do it this way anymore. I do use software to do it, but it still is static screens. Use Figma or something like that. You'll save yourself so much time by testing early with people before you code it. It's just, the speed difference is humongous. So I highly recommend anyone who's trying to make their own app to use paper prototypes as much as you can before you touch any code. Getting towards the end here. So this is an issue that a lot of engineers have when they prioritize what order they do things in. And typically, like a computer science grad, what they'll do is they'll start with engineering first, because that's what they know best. People start with what they know. So they'll open their code editor, they'll start building something, go, this is fun, and they keep going, and they keep adding features. So not only do you have this thing that has too many features, and you have to try and keep them all going, they're also wrong. They don't actually solve a real problem. So they didn't do any design. And by design, I don't just mean it looks good. I mean product design. What need does it fill? Like, is there an unmet need that this is supposed to fill? Who's your target customer? What is the pain point? And the question I always got was, why wouldn't I just use Facebook? Or a Facebook group, because the flow was basically like a Facebook clone for students. And it was kind of a stupid idea to do that, because it's already been done and it had nothing really special about it. So then there's the design. So they finally figure out, I needed to do some design stuff. And the very last thing they do is talk to a customer. And by that time, they've already ran out of money and 3 years have gone by. So it is the exact opposite direction. This is a much better direction. Start with marketing first, Someone asked me, you know, how do you market your app? What do you do to market your app? Pick up the phone. Pick up the phone, spend 2 weeks, call 10 people from the target market that you think might like it. If you cannot reach one person who shows genuine interest, stop trying on an idea. It's probably, it might be a good idea, but you can't reach anyone. You have no marketing channel. You have no way of reaching someone. And you know, people use Reddit. Don't use Reddit. Reddit, you need to be able to know who you're talking to, right? Because it is very dependent on who you're trying to sell to. You know, you wouldn't sell like construction equipment to someone who's a doctor or something like that. It doesn't make any sense. They're not going to buy it. So you need to know who you're talking to and try to do face-to-face as much as you can at first. It's much more obvious. It's much more easier to tell if someone's telling the truth or if they're sincere if you do it face-to-face. So try to do face-to-face as much as possible. I'll go back to, this one here. So and this is iterative. You won't get all the information up front. You can meet with a couple customers at the beginning and you might get some general sense of what's needed. But ultimately, you're going to have to keep testing. So I'm roughly, I'll say I'm over 30 prototypes in right now. And you know, it's over a year working on it. So 30 prototypes is not a lot. I think the guy that invented the Dyson had 200 prototypes or something like that. So you want to iterate fast and do these loops. And every time you do one, it's going to get a little bit better. And hopefully the loops will speed up. You don't spend, you don't wait a month to talk to a customer. You should be talking to a customer, maybe at the beginning once a month and then once every 2 weeks or something like that. There was recently a feature I just canceled and I already spent a month building because I waited too long to talk to another customer and I had to throw it out. So that's a month of work gone. So this is pretty bad. And this speeds up though. Once you get some kind of traction, you can automate the feedback loops. So it's kind of like priming a pump where you have to do it manually at first. And it's really, really painful, but it will speed up. It's kind of like unit testing. You want to automate your feedback loops so you can make changes faster. So that's basically it. My current work right now, it is related to before and after photos. These are a particular class of photos that have to be real. So I think they're going to survive AI. Right now I'm developing a new kind of AI model to help with those types of photos. I can't go too deep into it because I don't know if, I don't even know if I'll stay with this very long. I have to meet with the customer again, run it by him. But definitely there's going to be some AI stuff in there. Any questions? Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I definitely have a question. Because you said a couple times, like, oh, this is related to security or maybe not. But anybody in the cyber program, if you're going into 4th year, you should know about Capstone.
Yes,
Capstone,
that's a good point.
Capstone is essentially a product design.
Yeah.
So this should be super important to you as a cyber student. So I'm in 4th year and I'm going through the whole ideation process for my Capstone.
Yeah.
So this was really cool because I never even thought that we all just did co-op and I should just reach out to my co-op people and be like, hey, what's like a product that you guys would like or a feature you'd like?
What pain point to solve, something like that.
Yeah, what's like what's a pain point that they're using and actually just get that conversation going. Like, what would you say from your experience? Like,
they won't tell you the pain points.
Okay.
That's the problem. So what I found works with the last customer I talked to, I would always go into the conversation with a best guess of what I think the pain point is.
Yep.
And it's almost like doing an interrogation. You don't want to ask a direct question, and especially what's that?
Or like a bias question. You don't want to have bias on the question kind of thing.
No, there's that too.
Yeah.
It's like an interrogation that it's better to make a statement as opposed to make a question because they're going to correct you.
Yes.
You want them to correct you. That I find is the best. You want to go in with take your most confident idea you have. Say you have 5 features in your product. Take the one you're most confident about, and then just nail that home with the customer. And he'll tell you you're wrong. People are not afraid to tell other people that they're wrong. So it's just It is the best way I've found. The questioning part doesn't work for me. Yeah, you want to ask questions, but what I found is if you already have a good idea in your head of what it will be, and then you're proven wrong, it's gonna, for whatever reason, it seems to carry more weight.
Okay.
Okay, that's what I would do. I mean, I wasted a month on that one feature until I was proven wrong. But so maybe asking questions is the way to go. But definitely try to think of something where you can have a prototype built before you talk to them, and depends if you're worried about IP or not. I wouldn't worry about it for
Like
that stuff.
issues.
I would have a prototype first, because often they cannot envision in their head what you're thinking.
So actually build out a demo.
Build out a paper prototype,
Okay.
or take a Figma design, take that out to them, and then run through a use case. The main use case, not user login or something like that. You want to run through the main benefit, the big one that's going to give them the value. And that will give you the best feedback because they don't need to use their imagination. They can see it, yeah, exactly. You don't have to explain it to them, it's right in front of them. There's no guessing of what it is you're trying to get feedback from, and they'll give you better feedback because of it. And record it. Oh my God, you have to record it because if you'll forget. I recorded the one with him, and I mean, every single one should be recorded and played back. And I mean, it'll be obvious when you're standing there watching them try to use it. I'm just talking about usability tests. But in terms, I don't want to take up too much time. But there's two types of tests: usability tests and value tests. Usability tests you can test on almost anyone. Value tests are customer specific. That means you have to have a target market in mind beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're building something for doctors, obviously you would only talk to doctors, but then you have to find a pain point. You know, there's some product that they're buying that costs $1,000. You can do it for $100 or something like that. Some kind of software product. I don't know. Security. But
Yeah. So it really like quick pitch is it's Microsoft 365 auditing. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And there's 8 different places you have to go to look for things. So I've got an idea for a tool to basically create a wrapper to aggregate in 365 logs into like a way more readable format that's quick.
Yeah.
I have no front end, so like I was gonna do like a Jupyter notebook, but it's like it's been super shitty to use it.
Yeah.
So like I love the paper prototype of like how can I simplify this to the point of like button presses and like a sequential user experience almost like
Screens. So you want to have like start from the very beginning of the app with your paper prototype, and then make one clear, clear stroke through the app or
Okay.
sequence or path.
Yep.
And that's how I do it. And actually, I use those same paths to design end-to-end tests for the software. and
that's
it works really well because it tests the real path that the user takes.
okay.
And it makes our end-to-end tests really easy to understand. It's clear path. Oh, it's reusing work basically. It's efficient.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome. So yeah, that's it. Any other questions?
I did.
Yeah. What's
So
up?
much of it is like, so you say that like if we go back to the restaurant, you want to do one impossible thing as an
Yeah.
example. So like 0 carb spaghetti with tomato sauce as an example.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So how much of it is also like future sight? Because you don't want to, for example, create a product that he already has a company that like he's earning like $5 million a year doing, and it's like, you know, everybody loves it. Like all those like Twitter clones, for example, they're all like, oh, our Twitter clone is so much better than Twitter. Come to our Twitter clone. So my thing is, how much of it is like looking into the future and saying, okay, well, for example, AI is taking off right now. So
Yeah.
what can I do in the future that's going to be also using AI instead of trying to reinvent the wheel? I don't know if you get my question. So I'm wondering how much of it is like being able to see into the future as to what the customer will want in terms of like convenience.
Well, you got to talk to the customer first. So I mean, that's the trick. Is you won't know what's valued or what the big pain points are. You'll find out eventually. I guarantee it if you talk to the customer. I have, and that's why I'm working on AI. I think AI was never a part of this project.
Yeah, I'm just giving an example. But like, are there some kind of like trends, for example, that you can see that you can kind of use as a rough draft? I know like obviously you want to talk to customers, like,
Yeah.
obviously, but is there like certain trends that you should or can use in order to try to create your customer
a good question, because I don't know the answer to it. Trends. So I'm not a big trend person. Again, the idea with the AI thing, it's not because it's the trend. It's because it happened to solve a huge pain point that I thought was impossible.
Right.
It's an impossible problem. Just like the spaghetti example, I would go, my God, I found an impossible problem that now can be solved. That's why I'm doing it. Why you're doing it is more important. So, I mean, that sounds obvious, but it's so easily overlooked. Trends are, you know, people when they look at stocks, they look at the trends and it's like, no. What is the business doing? You know, how is this product better than you know, so-and-so's or whatever? Do they have a patent on it? Do they have a moat? Is someone going to copy them easily? You know, Google and OpenAI fighting right now or whatever. But what's up?
It's all about data. From what I gathered many years ago, I used to work for this brown corporation, and they collected data on 14 million addresses in Canada. Oh, 14 every point of call, every route, how it's paced, how it's walked, how it's measured, how many stairs, how many steps, how many doors, are there animals, are there dogs, are there any type of trip hazards. So, I spent over 30 years with this company as a contractor.
Yep.
And so we have all this data, and I explained, you have all these PDTs, all these carriers, all these employees walking around with this device regarding when there's not even, they're going to scan it, it's been dropped, it's been delivered.
Yeah.
And the company owns 6 companies, including the telecommunications company, Innovables.
Yeah.
And they do a lot of you know, PDTs and development and software, right? A lot of engineering. So my idea was, you know what? You have the data.
Yeah.
And there's not much you can do with the data. It's great if you needed that data for a tactical position in case you need to know exactly how many steps to that door.
Yeah.
Right, because you have to take something out. Cops or
Do you mean when you say it's about the data? Are you talking about identifying what product to build, or?
No. So my idea was you have a huge database, like routes, stairs, steps, walks, like all that data for every point of call, every address in Canada, and you have people that are out there with the PDTs. So my idea was, like, why don't you have all that information interface, because it's military technology, within 3 feet. You know exactly where that person is within 3 feet every day. You can ping all of these devices. So if there's an issue with that address, right, and the person is walking just have a bus, if there's a lot of rapid movement, call the cops, because what's that's going to tell you is more or less someone's running. There's some type of issue. It could be a dog, it could be a mob.
Yep.
And so my idea is just write a program, send it to a Nova Post, have them write the script, and use it.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong with the data. I mean,
That's what I discovered a few years later, right? And I told them more or less, just keep it nice and quiet. But if you don't use it, let me know, and I'll do something with it. It's in use with the United States Postal Service.
well,
Makes sense.
Yeah, it
Because
does.
14 million addresses, 250 million addresses.
it's the data's a bottleneck, I think, for the startups. I mean,
But if you have an institution, an
yeah,
organization,
I'm
look at their technology, like how could you possibly?
I'm not saying you're incorrect. I'm saying for a startup, that's not Google. It would be very hard to have that kind of access. I know there's data you can access online, like Kaggle has data sets you can use for training models and stuff like that. Of course, use those. But it comes back to the spaghetti example I gave, where you're trying to compete against Tim Hortons with the same menu. Or Moneyball, trying to compete against a baseball team when you're a broke team. The strategy matters quite a bit. And I'm not saying you're wrong. The data matters. I'm probably going to have to find data, make my own data, come up with it somehow. But just having, I don't get your point.
The point was, you have an institution with tons of data.
Okay.
A lot of data. And are you able to mine into that data? What can you do with that data? What type of application
It's,
you
I mean,
develop to actually utilize that data and possibly sell it.
bounce
What would
back
the
and
company
forth.
actually end up doing?
Customer data.
Yeah.
Customer data.
It was their they own our data set,
Yeah.
right?
It is data. I mean, when you go to talk to a customer, now this is, like, I don't want to take up too much time. I'm way over half an hour.
This last question, and then we're
Last
done.
question, okay. I would say data doesn't make people move. Okay, that would be one way of saying it. Talking to a customer face to face who's angry at you is going to affect you a lot more than reading a data set in terms of what you do to act on it. Okay, that's why I go to, like, I came to RST here to meet people in person. I drive to or go 2 hours to do a usability test or talk to a customer. Why wouldn't I just call him, or why wouldn't I just email him? There's a good reason. Because when you're looking at someone straight in the eyes, you get some empathy out of it, and you act on what they say more so, with more urgency than you would with a data set. I'm not saying data doesn't matter. Of course, you want to have that too. You know, I'm looking at on Facebook. I'm looking at customers on Facebook. You know, what stuff do they already use, kind of thing. But really, that doesn't make much impact on what actually gets built. It's when I actually talk to them. Yeah.
I used to crack a lot of cases, right, as a contractor, where you get pattern trend analysis based on data sets, especially when it's public corporation, supportive
Yeah.
observation, right? And after 3 years of this nonsense, cracking all these cases that it should have been actually solvable, they sent a couple of programs to ISSSmodel to figure out how it is that actually, establish, the trend analysis, right?
Yeah.
So the curriculum, they sent a couple of programs, they write the programs that they just to verify. So it's actually captured that entire data set. So data is obviously key, it's obviously key. But aside from the data, it's also the interpretation of the analysis. And, the product design, whether it's an app or it's a software element for it. But,
Cool.
key is always data, having
Yeah,
access to
you want to
data.
have
The more
as
data
much
you have,
and
the better.
multiple modes of data too, not just a database. You
One
want to
is subject for examination and questioning and, chasing dragons. Sometimes you might have no hypothesis and you're totally off.
yeah.
Totally wrong. And
Yeah.
in 30 years chasing something that, yeah, you believe that, you defended it in your own mind.
Update your beliefs. Yeah. You want to?
Almost be a bit cautious and careful.
Yeah, definitely.
Also revisit.
Yes. Always revisiting. Definitely. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. Thanks
for the talk. That was amazing. Yeah, so this is the last session of the semester. Thanks for coming out.
You answered my question. I was going to ask if this was the last.
Yeah, so this is the last one of the semester. It's exam week, as you guys know. People have exams this week, next week. Last day of classes is next Friday. You got a nice break before, 3-week break before school starts again, so that's nice. For the sessions next year, we're not sure about a date. The time will be 7 p.m. It's always 7 p.m. or 7:10, 7:15, whatever. We're going to try to do J102 again, but it's based off the booking, so we'll find a room and let you guys know. The day as well, we'll probably send out a poll, so, be aware for that notification, and if you're trying to come to the sessions, fill out the poll so we can, match the most people to the correct time. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for coming. Appreciate you guys. Have a great Christmas break. Cool. Thanks.